Hello and welcome to Religion and Life. I'm your host, Ozzie Ostwalt, and this week we'll be focusing on a local faith-based organization that helps women recover from addiction and substance abuse. Our guests are Addie Bobbitt and Allison McCart, and they're here to talk about the work and mission of Carey's Home for Women. Welcome, Addie, and welcome, Allison. Thank you both for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
Great to see you both. I want to talk about Carey's Home, but maybe you can just tell me how each of you got involved, what your role is with this home for recovery. Addie, maybe you could go first.
Okay, thank you, Ozzie. And my one reason for, or the main reason for being involved so adamantly and compassionately with the drugs and alcohol recovery, my only daughter, Josie, died of drug addiction 2 years ago, and it's been a hard journey for me. I know there are parents and grandparents out in the area that have got children and grandchildren that are addicted to drugs and alcohol. And my main thing I would like to say to all these people is you can get through it. It's very difficult, very hard. Josie was my only child, and I went through the whole process with her. And it was a horrible, horrible experience, not only for Josie, but for her grandmother, her friends, and for myself. So that is the reason that I am so involved with drug recovery programs for women.
So there are support structures out there. I guess the challenge is getting people into the right programs and making sure people know where to go for help and support.
And you know, that is so true, Ozzie. And Allison's got a program that she'd like to mention, and then I'm also doing one in Johnson County, which is called AlAnon. I do it once a week at First Christian Church on Main Street in Mountain City, 12 to 1 every Tuesday. So that's a wonderful thing, and you need a support group to help with this.
And you're looking to expand that program, I think. Is that correct?
Yes, I want to expand it to Boone, hopefully in First United Methodist Church in Boone. And then Allison, would you like to tell them about Celebrate Recovery?
Yeah, let's, Allison, tell us about how you got involved with Carey's Home, and then tell us about Celebrate Recovery.
Okay. My husband, Mark, came to Freedom Farm Ministries, Recovery Home for Men, in March of this year.
And that's also a local recovery program.
Correct.
For men, and it's allied with Carey's Home.
They share some of the same staff members. Okay. Jim Quigley is the executive director of both Carey's Home and Freedom Farm. And Mike, he is also affiliated with both organizations. So my husband came in February, actually, not March, and I followed in May to Carey's Home, which is Freedom Farms for Men. Carey's Home is for women. I committed to a 6-month stay at inpatient recovery home, Carey's Home, and completed that about 10 days ago. My husband and I have both relocated to Vilas. We are both members of Bethel Baptist Church. Senior pastor is Charlie Martin. The church has been the reason that I will continue to do as well as I'm doing now.
That's great.
And Carey's Home and God mostly.
Well, congratulations. You're
Thank
just
you.
A recent graduate.
Yes,
You're
yes.
doing well.
Yes, feels good.
Yeah, so you both have really personal connections to the work that this program is doing.
Most definitely.
And I want to talk a little bit about the program at Carey's Home. It is a faith-based organization, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So is there something about a faith-based program for recovery that sets it apart from non-faith-based 12-step programs, for example? Do you think it's more effective, and why?
Well, personally, I find faith-based to be more effective because it's working for my husband and myself. What sets the two apart mostly is a faith-based program defines what God is and how He will work in your life and that He loves you. Non-faith-based resorts to a higher power, and people are kind of left to their own understanding of what that is for them. So it's more clearly outlined, I believe, in a faith-based program. versus non-faith-based. And to touch on what you said previously with Addie about some of the struggles that about recovery for women, I believe the main struggle would be to find placement to begin with. Most recovery homes and rehab facilities, if it's not a recovery home, is geared towards men.
Okay. So there are fewer facilities for women. So this is maybe not unique in the high country, but certainly unusual.
I'd like to say two things. Like Allison said, what really upset me and devastated me about my daughter who died, she reached out and wanted so desperately to go into a facility, and there was none. This was in Florida, and there was no place for her to go. And so, you know, they go out into the streets or they go back to jail or whatever the case might be. And now we've opened two in Ormond Beach, Florida. And then, like Allison said, we've got one in Vallis, North Carolina, which is Carrie's home. And what is so neat, and I'm so glad to say this, a friend of mine there's another facility in Boone, it's called Hebron Colony for Men.
Right.
And I spoke to one of the main guys there that have totally recovered, or you don't ever totally recover, but he's done exceptionally well. I'll never forget him saying, Addie, I was in a rehab facility 15 different times. He said they were not faith-based, nothing to do with Christianity, just threw me in there, do on your own, you know, do whatever you want to do, sort of thing. He said none of them worked until he became a Christian and came to God, to know God. And the Hebron Colony is another one that's excellent. Like I said, like you've said, faith-based, Christian-based, you've got to have that to recover.
Now, and so these communities, faith-based communities, they give you that, I guess, a sense of strength that supersedes feeling that you're in it by yourself. So you have that built in. So that would be one thing that sets these programs.
And something else they do that is so effective, they actually find out the root of what is causing the addiction. There's always something that triggers an addiction. I don't care if you have an eating disorder, I don't care if you're an alcoholic, I don't care if you're a drug addict. There's always something that's triggering it. When you find that one little thing that is triggering it and you're healed from the inside out, and you're healed by Christianity and finally getting to know God in your life, and that's what heals you as an addict.
So the addiction is a symptom
Correct.
of something deeper. So Allison, you said you just finished your program, and did you say 6 months?
Correct.
In-house.
Correct.
So that's a fairly intensive commitment on your part to go through a 6-month program in residence. Is it
correct.
rigorous? Can you describe a little bit about what happens during this?
Typical day, we meet at the table for morning devotion at 7:30. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, we have a class with Jim Quigley, and that runs from 10 to 12 approximately. Then we come back and have lunch, and the afternoon we do level work. We are required to, we study particular books in the Bible, and then we have to summarize each chapter. We have scripture memorization where we memorize a verse, and then we have to write it, and then on another day recite it. There's different things. It's kind of a schoolroom setting.
Sounds like you should get college credit for this.
I
You're
think
really
so.
working hard.
Or paid.
Or paid.
Just kidding.
And describe Teen Challenge also.
And then Teen Challenge takes place on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 10 to 12. Our program manager, Cherie Brown, guides us and teaches us through different chapters, of Teen Challenge. And one that sticks out to me is giving God your personal rights. So a lot of people's hang-ups in life, personally speaking, would be that you think that someone should treat you a certain way, and when they don't, then you become upset and you act out. And so when you learn to let go of that and give that to God, it's no longer, it's the thing with faith-based recovery is you no longer rely on self.
Right.
You give it to God, and God will take care of you.
And then when you're in a group setting like this, there's a lot of accountability built in, I would assume. So and is that a large part of the recovery program, the sense of accountability to the other people in the community?
I think part of the growing and learning process that takes place is to learn to be accountable to someone. That, for me, what other people think and feel is important. And so then, therefore, my actions, I'm accountable to someone. That I think that will help me.
And you mentioned Celebrate Recovery earlier, but I think we didn't get to it. So is that a separate program that's coming out of Carrie's home, or is that part of what you're doing in the in-house recovery program, or what is that?
Celebrate Recovery is a worldwide organization. We are having our launch for the group at Alliance Bible Fellowship on New Year's Eve. People can arrive at 6 p.m.
Is that what this flyer is about?
Correct.
Yeah.
You can come at 6 p.m. The doors open, and we will feed everyone. And then from 7 until people don't fall asleep, we will have bands and get some type of prizes. It's new to the community, and it's new to me. So we're just starting it, but we're hoping for a good turnout, and people can get a feel for what Celebrate Recovery looks like, and it's typical to your to the recovery programs that are out there now, but this is faith-based.
And you mentioned earlier, I think when we were talking, that there's a particular individual at Carrie's home who's been with the program from the beginning, and she's kind of directing things and working very closely with residents. Could you tell me a little bit about what her position entails? Maybe both of you speak to her a little differently.
Cherie Brown, as I spoke of before, she is the program manager. She is there when no one else is there. She steps in, and she loves us. So I guess it depends on the individual, but she is there to help any way that she can. She's a very spiritual person. She loves God, and she teaches us about God loving us. And
So Eddie, how many residents at any one time would you expect to see at Carrie's home?
Very good question, because I'll put this into the little program. Presently, they can house 4 ladies, but we have a second mobile home, and we're trying to get it refurbished. It's been gutted, but the mobile home's in good condition, and we need certain materials to get this on, back in functioning order. And we need siding, we need all types of the roofing, we need a well. But anyway, if you are interested in helping out in that endeavor, it will be, you can contact me or Allison, either one. But when we get that one up and about, it will be 5 more women in the homes. And the age group there, which we didn't mention, which has been very interesting, is anywhere from 18, and the oldest young lady or lady was 52.
Really?
And Cherie, as Allison has stated, has just been I call her a saint or an angel, because she is just there. Anytime that the girls need anything, she's always there.
So this is really a challenge, I would think. I mean, you mentioned it earlier. If you can only house 4 or 5 women, and you're covering a fairly large geographical area, there has to be more individuals who want to be in a recovery program like this, and you have the ability to serve simply by the matter that you're trying to grow and meet demand. Is that a problem? Do you have people wanting to become part of this program yet can't get in because of?
Well, the problem is a lot of people do not know about Carrie's home.
Right.
And that is why we're here today with Allison and myself, to make people aware that it is out there for them. So if you've got, a daughter or a granddaughter that needs help, and then there are other homes, like I said, one lady, a good friend of mine, has started them in Dallas, Texas, Indiana, Florida, and now we want to start a home soon in Johnson County, Tennessee. And we've got the facility, but what's so hard about all these homes is finding a appropriate counsel to actually be a program director like Cherie is, and that's been a very, very definite problem.
Sure. Allison, let me ask you a question. You mentioned you're a recent graduate from the program, so you last 6 months of your life, you've been in this house with 5 other women. I would think that one of the challenges you face would be, and others like you, would be transitioning out of the program and back into your life. Is that something you recognize as a challenge? Is that something the program addresses? Is there something to facilitate that transition, I guess is what I'm asking.
Yes, we do have a transitional program, which is optional for people upon completion of their 6-month commitment. I believe it's a different phase of the program. It's on site. There's another home that people can, transfer to. You're required to stay involved in church, get a job, and personally for me, I have a wonderful husband, so I didn't have to worry about that.
Yeah, and so you'll both be kind of in this transition period now, and
most definitely.
yeah.
We're very active in Bethel Baptist Church, as I stated before. We're both going to be very active in Celebration Recovery, and our children will be here hopefully in June. I have 2 teenage boys, Alex and Ian, that are in Florida with my mom, and just trying to, love God and accept life on life's terms.
Right. I would think that the follow-up here with graduates of the program would be an extensive part of what you do, and yet another challenge. So I'm curious, Addie, maybe you can speak to this. An organization like this, you're trying to grow, trying to meet the needs of the county. How are you funded? Is this a struggle? Is it I'm assuming you're not receiving any kind of government funds or anything like that. But
The bad thing about it, and I shouldn't say bad because that's sort of a derogatory comment, but Carrie's home is supported by donations, private donations, and then it's also supported by fundraising. And we're getting ready to have a fundraiser December 9th. It's going to be at State Farm Road at the Optimist Club. Again, that's December 9th, 8 o'clock to 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's going to be a really unique rummage sale. And it is indoor, people, so I know it's going to be cold December 9th, but it's in the Optimist Club building on State Farm Road. Each girl a month costs $323. If you'd like to support one weekly, it's $81. And daily, it's $12 a day. And Allison, show them those cute little candles.
yeah, we brought in these nice candles here that they really are gorgeous. So you sell these, is that correct?
We make and sell these. We promote them at different events. The rummage sale would be one. There's also a candle sale taking place this Sunday, December 3rd, at Boone Methodist Church. Some of the board members help us with that. A woman named Nona Lawrence, we go into her home and she helps us make the candles, and then she buys all these different containers, I guess would be a good word, and stores the things at her home and takes them to different places to where we can sell them and try to keep Carrie's home doors open. It's very important that Carrie's home does not close.
So if you've thrown out a lot of dates and activities, if somebody's interested in coming to the rummage sale or coming to the candle sale and they want that information, is the best place to go to your website? Are those events listed there?
Well, you could go to my website if they would like. I don't mind at all. And should I give it on the air?
Absolutely, you can do that.
My name, Addie. My last name is Bobbitt, Bobbitt, the number 1 at gmail.com. So Addie Bobbitt 1 at gmail.com. And also this spring, we're having a big silent auction / rummage sale at Alliance Christian Church. And that will be, they had one in September. It was delightful. They had a dinner and a silent auction, and then they raffled off things live in a live auction. I meant to say silent auction and live auction. So that's another fundraiser that they do for, and then we've got a board of directors for Carrie's Home. They work really hard. And so if anyone's interested in joining the board of directors, they can also, email me or text me. And it's a wonderful organization for these young ladies.
Okay. And I'm sorry.
We can also be found on Facebook, Carrie's Home.
And that's Kari.
Correct.
Yeah.
And carrieshome.org.
Okay. Maybe we can get these web addresses up on the screen for others, if people want to get in touch with you. So you could go to these places if you wanted to support financially, or if someone's looking to connect for whatever reason.
Definitely. The application process is very simple. Jim Quigley makes it as pain-free as possible. People are anxious and a little weary whenever they're trying to take this step into a new way of life, and it's very daunting if you allow it to be, but it's really painless and it has a great outcome.
Well, we're about out of time, but I'd like to hear maybe a sentence or two from each of you. Just what message would you like to leave us with, either to those who are in need of help, or to those like Allison who have gone through this program now as a recent graduate? What's your parting comment, Addie?
2 parting comments would be, I'm very proud of Allison and all the girls that are in the program, because it's hard. It's very hard. And to let parents, relatives, friends that have got addicts or alcoholics in their family or in their life, that there is hope with these programs. Right. And then the gentlemen's programs, like we mentioned, Freedom Farms and Hebron, they're excellent programs for these young men. And then we have programs also for these young ladies.
But seek help.
I would say that there is help out there, and there is another way to live. And through God, you can find that.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank both of you. You're an inspiration.
Thank you.
Both of you for successfully completing the program and for working so hard with this group. And I thank you for the good work you're doing in our community.
Great.
And don't forget, December 9th, 8 o'clock at the Optimist Club. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Addie. Thank you, Allison.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for joining us on Religion and Life this week, brought to you by App TV. I want to thank again our guests, Addie Bobbitt and Allison McCart. And this is our final program for this season. But make sure you join us in January for an exciting new season of Religion and Life. We'll hope you join us then. Until then, this is Ozzie Ostwalt.